I care so very deeply for you. In fact, I care so much that I would never give you anything that Fred Sanford wouldn't consider a treasure.
Where are my old records?
Right where you put them last week.
Oh, boy, they don't make records like these anymore. This was the heyday of the big-name band. Congratulations. You have just become the owner of a Bannister Deluxe Model 7614B, the supreme achievement in high fidelity.
Let's hear the high five, Pop.
Place the records on the spindle. Well, I've done that. 78 RPM. Turn on-off switch to on. Allow 5 seconds for warm-up. Volume control. Bass equalizer. There. Now, Joey boy, you're really going to hear something.
Greetings, fellow Earth babies, and welcome to Post-Punk Heartstrings. I'm Jimmy James S. Butler, and we are going to sit down, or rather we did sit down, with Craig Miller of the band Blueburst. Blueburst is Craig's project. It is a project that he collaborated on with MartyWillson Piper of the church, and we had a great conversation all about how that took place and how it all unfolded. So it's pretty exciting. As church fans, we are doubly excited. And as new fans of Blueburst, I am triply excited because I love this music. You're going to hear a lot of alternatives, 80s type sound, along with 90s, and it has a modern feel as well. So it's all kind of wrapped into one. As you'll find out, Craig was a big fan of REM, and that really influenced his sound a lot. Jim and I personally feel like there's a lot of Bob Mould or Sugar sound to the music, which is so cool. So what you're going to get today is sort of a rambling intro. I think I mentioned before, there's a lot going on with me with trying to find a house, and man, it is rough finding a house right now. Thankfully, we sold our house in January, but the housing market is totally in a slump. The interest rates went way up. Now they're coming back down. All of the sellers still are trying to get higher prices. They've been very inflated. And so 2026, maybe into 2027, God forbid, they're looking at it as a year of stabilization to where the prices are coming down. Sellers are being a little bit more realistic about what the houses are worth, along with the interest rates coming down a little bit. And buyers who have been holding off, as the prices come down, they're more willing to kind of meet in the middle there. And so that's where it's happening. And so there's not a lot of inventory, which of course that means people that want houses are fighting for them, and not willing to pay the higher prices. And there's so much to it. I'm so tired of thinking about houses. Chrissy and I are so tired of, talking about houses, looking at houses, using AI to see what is good or bad about houses, looking at the markets, yada, 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 yada. I could go on forever. And I will not. I will not. We're not here to talk about houses. We're here to talk about music, in particular, Blueburst. Like I said, I love their sound. I love all the songs. I can identify a lot because there's a lot with this album called Significance that I definitely can relate to some of us 50-plussers who have a lot of life left to live. And we're kind of doing a lot of creative things, putting our creativity out there with a lot of projects and new things that we want to share, legacies, if you will, if we're trying to leave those things and make our mark. But a lot of great stuff. And I love what Craig is doing. I love that he was able to connect with Marty. Like I said, we're going to hear a little bit about that. Hopefully we'll get Marty on the show to round out our interviews with the original core members of the band at church. But neither here nor there for this. I think I just love that I'm finally getting to this. I know we've had a little bit of delay between episodes. We had one all geared up with the Flashing Astonishers, who I can't say enough about how awesome the music of that band is. Jim and I got a chance to talk with Greg Yeti in December, I believe it was. And I think we originally scheduled it for October. Greg was sick. Then we had December. We had a great conversation. We had not the best audio on the call, and sometimes that happens. And so we're looking to have that conversation again. It just was not up to the quality that I was comfortable with, and certainly Greg was not as well. So we're also going to try to get Dan from the band, the Flashing Astonishers, on the show. He couldn't make it last time. I think there was a blizzard going on last time we spoke, and so we couldn't quite connect with everyone. So I think we're going to have Greg and Dan on for the next interview. And so I'm looking forward to that. We had such a fun, interesting, snarky chat that I look forward to actually having the conversation again and asking the questions again and maybe mixing them up a little. So, but anyway, we had a gap because of that. And so that was supposed to be the last episode in season 4 of Post-Punk Heartstrings. But we're going to have to reschedule that, and hopefully that'll happen soon. But we were able to get Blueburst in, and it was supposed to be the first episode of season 5. So I'm just going to drop it in. I don't know what the fuck season we're in right now. A season of house searching. Oh, wait, I wasn't going to talk about houses anymore. You've got me in a mood right now. I'm sitting here drinking my homemade old fashioned. I had to fish out all my glasses and my KC West Bottoms whiskey and all my bitters out of a box I had packed up under the bed at my son's place, which is where I'm staying right now. And if you've seen any of my posts on Instagram or Facebook, you can see the ceiling. I think a couple of people have mentioned the ceiling at my son's place. Really neat building. And it's got these wooden supports in the ceiling that my son lives in, like a hacienda. And that's what it's called. They call it the hacienda. It's like a Mexican style building. And the history that I hear is that this Mexican guy moved up from Mexico to the Gladstone area in Kansas City. And he had this house built for his entire family. And so there's this multi-level. It has foyers on both ends, in suites in the middle on every level, and then a spiral staircase that goes down through all the floors in the back foyer area. Like there's the foyer on every floor is like runs the length of the building. So you can see out to all the trees. It's really cool. It's a really neat place. And it provided a great place to live, for many people, including my son. And so I'm staying with him right now. I have my old fashioned. I had to get all the stuff out, and I finally did that. It's been packed away for a few months now, but I'm enjoying that, and hence the mood. Actually, I was in a mood without the alcohol. I didn't need the alcohol, but here I am to get a little loosey-goosey, get a little further down the road. Remember that movie, The Wiz, with Diana Ross, I think, and possibly Michael Jackson? It was like a soul version of The Wizard of Oz, and it was called The Wiz. Really cool. So there was a song in it called Get On Down the Road. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get on down the road. But before I get too much crazier, I'm working on setting up more interviews for season 5. I've got one locked in that I'm pretty excited about. I'm not going to say what band that is right now. But I will say I'm kind of trying to focus in on some female bands or artists. And so if there are any artists that have females in the band, or they're projects led by females, or they're fronted by females, please reach out to me. Just send me a message. Send me a message on Facebook, Instagram, email, postpunkheartstrings@gmail.com. And let me know, because I'm trying to schedule interviews with a lot of bands for this next seasons that include females. We haven't done a lot of bands with females. We've done some episodes that covered some albums by Sam Phillips, just critiquing them song by song. I did that with Mark Feldbush, but I think that's pretty much been it. And there's a lot of bands that I love that are either fronted by females or have females in the bands. Even better if we had an all-female band on the show. But anyway, I just wanted to give you an idea of what's coming up, and I think we should just move on into the episode with Craig Douglas Miller of Blueburst.
There we go. You guys hear me?
It's yes.
Very well.
The Craiginator has joined us. Yeah. All right.
Probably the best sounding guest we've had so far.
See, I don't think I can stand up.
Nice.
We
Matching Funny Man shirts.
Did you guys plan this?
Yeah, Jim, where's your?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why did you? What happened, man?
I'll have to go look for one.
How's it going?
Good. Yeah. Thanks for having me on this. I listened to bits of a few different episodes today, and I'm excited to talk to you guys.
Yeah, thank you for listening, and it's great to have you.
I have a big coffee here, which will make me very talkative. So.
That's awesome.
I have a beer, and that'll.
That does the same thing.
Hopefully it'll shut me up. I don't know. And listen. But I have to go slow because I don't want to go to the bathroom. Then I have to go to the bathroom. Well, thanks again. Appreciate you joining us, taking your time out.
Happy to.
I
like talking about myself. So.
Well, great. And we like you to talk.
Yeah.
And I talk less when you talk. We got lots of questions as usual. Jim just added some right before.
Yeah, I was at work and I came up with a few more.
I'm Jimmy James or Jimmy. You know,
cool.
I go by Jimmy James on the show, and some people call me that. But yeah, you can call me Jimmy or whatever you want to call me. I guess as long as you're nice to me.
I say dude a lot. Yeah.
Dude, hey, dude, hey.
Dude's cool.
And then this is Jim.
I'm Jim.
My sidekick. So just Jim. That's what I usually say.
I'm the Robin to his Batman.
It's just Jim. And Jim is a chatterbox. Just let me tell you. So just get ready for it.
All right.
I hope you are ready to talk about yourself.
I'm ready.
And your band and your old band and Marty and everything in between.
Sure.
So we'll just jump right in.
Okay.
Sound good? Oh, Jim, you have a beer. Nice.
I got a beer.
Yeah, nice. All right, so let's jump in.
Let's do it.
So let's kick it off. Return to your music. You had a period where you were kind of away from music for a while. What finally pulled you back into the music after 20 plus years of hiatus?
A few things. I mean, COVID definitely entered into it because I was at home, with guitars around. And I'd kind of been doing stand-up comedy as a hobby for a while, and that kind of died with COVID, and so found myself, just at home wanting to play. And mainly Marty, really. I started working with Marty through his, songwriting and guitar guidance sessions. And, it started out just us talking about creativity for a long time. And then it was like, well, maybe I'll play him this thing I was working on. And it's like, maybe I'll put out a song. And he just kept pushing the level of what I was doing up professionally. I was like, oh, I can play a little bit of drums. I'll play drums on it. He's like, no, you should get a real drummer. And then I'm like, well, who do I know? I know Michael Jerome out in L.A. I wonder if he'd do it, and he did. And then I got a bass player that I knew, and it just kind of gradually, the next thing I knew, we had this album. And, but it was really, I think it's a testament to the value of mentorship, really, and having someone to bounce ideas off of. In my job as an advertising guy, I'm a writer and I work in a pair with an art director, and you have that back and forth. But, as a musician, I was just kind of on an island. And, if I think about something long enough, I'll decide it's terrible, and ditch it.
Yeah.
But having Marty there, a guy that I completely respected and liked and was a huge fan of, I'd be stupid not to take his advice on stuff. And, having someone just to go, hey, that's good. Maybe that one's down. Try something else there. was just invaluable. So
nice.
There aren't many Brian Wilsons in the world who can just have it all spring forth into their head on their own. So.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to talk about Marty and sort of his mentorship a little bit later, because I definitely want to talk about that. So you had this long period, 20 years, a little bit over 20 years maybe, of not doing any music. And I know you struggled with depression, in your past. And I don't know if how that played into your musical hibernation, how much of it was tied to The Reach, your band The Reach, and maybe that didn't pan out exactly the way you hoped, but I'm not sure. I'm just throwing thoughts out there. So I kind of wanted to hear you talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. A lot of things entered into it. I would say, the whole time I was doing musical things. I mixed and mastered an album for a friend of mine. I did some recording when I was unemployed in New York. I set up my apartment as a recording studio and had Broadway singers come in and record, demos and stuff like that. And I was always making sort of little snippets of music, and then just couldn't figure out how to finish anything, really. I got really into my advertising career. I moved to New York City, and it's funny. I look back on it now, and it's like I used to have this Shecky's bar guide, and I would circle all the bars that I went to, and I'd be like, I got to go to all these, and I just got way too into that, and going out and drinking myself into a stupor, to really accomplish much of anything outside of that and my career in advertising.
Yeah.
But I definitely there was a confidence issue, I think, with me. I think after The Reach, it's like The Reach, I knew we were a really good band, but we didn't really have that cool factor, and we never could sort of bring the crowds out that I thought we deserved or could have had. So. At the time, sort of, I'm thinking, when I say at the time, I'm thinking about like the 2000s. It became really uncool in alternative music to use echo, and everyone was like doing, it was like the Strokes and all that stuff. And I was just like, I'm not turning my echo pedal off, man. I love that sound. So that made me sort of insecure, I guess. Like I was hanging out with some people who were like listening to Pavement, and I love Pavement. I love Sonic Youth, and I love bands like that. But, I wouldn't be very good at it if I tried to do that. So that was kind of a rambling, long answer. It's the coffee.
No,
all this
that's
coffee.
Great. That's great. Yeah.
Rambling is
but,
good.
it's a combination of things, I guess, is the answer to your question. Lots of confidence, too much drinking, just sort of a sense that, anything I did was going to fail, and, Yeah. So, and I've had a really nice career. I worked really hard in my advertising career and did pretty well until AI and social media came along and ruined it for everyone. But but anyway.
Yeah. I think you kind of answered this next question, kind of. Was there a specific moment where you realized, okay, I'm not done. I'm ready to get in there and kind of focus on music more? It sounds like you answered that a little bit with as far as like your interactions with Marty, but you can expound on that.
I don't know if I have to think about if there was like a moment, but it's definitely, I always thought I would come back to it. I always thought I would do this someday. I just didn't know how to do it. I guess, a big moment for me was when Michael Jerome started tracking the drums, and I was just like, damn, this just brought the whole thing to a new level, and this is going to be really good. Is the first time I kind of got that sense. So
Marty was right.
He was.
Sure.
Yeah, he's right. He's always right. He's made like 500 albums. So what he's talking about.
He's got quite a resume.
Yeah,
for sure.
He was just here, and we did that live stream. But I was telling him that, like, the thing about being starstruck, it's like I said, Marty, to me now you're just you're Marty, whatever. I said, but it still shocks me sometimes because I got a piece of mail here for you the other day that someone had sent for, or something. And I look on it and I see MartyWillson Piper, and I'm like, how the fuck did this happen? I've been listening to this guy when I was 16. I went to the Gold Afternoon Fix tour when I was in high school, and my buddy and I stood over in front of Marty, and we're like, oh, look, he's the coolest thing in the world.
He's a rock star.
Yeah. So it is surreal, but it's cool now because he's just my friend. He's just
it's
a dude.
so cool.
So, yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah.
So I've heard.
So we haven't got him on here yet.
We'll talk to him at some point.
I'll put in a good word for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Come on. I won't tell him all his other band members have been on though.
No, don't. Because we got to have his perspective. Because we always ask about the Gold Afternoon Fix, and I know from what he said online what he feels about it, but
he gets a big frown anytime that record comes up. So, and I always go, man, the songs were great. I said, what you do is take the tracks and go and get J.D. Dougherty and go have him drum over the old tracks. I said, it'd be great, so, but who knows?
Totally.
Yeah.
So the Reach, okay. You had a nice run in the 90s. What do you see as the emotional through line from the Reach to Blueburst? Because I've listened to a bunch of the Reach as well, and it's an awesome band. I love all the stuff. And I would have loved it then if I'd have heard of the band, but I was a little sheltered in music then. But
well, it's funny. I mean, in the 90s, you couldn't just put your music online and make it available. I mean, I remember mailing cassettes to college radio stations. It's just like that seems like 100 years ago now. But, well, I guess it was like 40 years ago.
Half of 100. Almost.
30.
30. It's 30 something, but still, you're right. Like you couldn't, unless you were in a record store or something, and somebody happened to have a flyer or something, or a magazine.
Totally. I mean, we were fortunate that the radio station there, 97.1, the Eagle, had a local music show every Sunday night, and the DJ there really liked our album and kind of just started featuring us, and I think that helped us to sell a few records and do a little better. But it was a strange thing because we've got this band. I thought we were pretty good, we had some enthusiastic fans, but we just weren't pulling crowds at all. And yet I'm getting calls. I talked to this guy, Jason Flom from Atlantic Records, who's like huge name, and I didn't know it at the time, and he's like congratulating me on the album. And Brian Phillips was the production manager, what do you call it? Anyway, the head program director at 99X here in Atlanta, and I came out and met him, and he's like, this is a great album. I want to put it on the air, and he had just broken Cranberries on that station, so it's like we're getting all this record label interest from Island and, big people, but we're playing in front of 5 people in Dallas. Yeah. So it was a strange sort of thing. You asked, though, about the emotional through line. I mean, I guess there's like a longing to all of it, although I feel like this new album, some of that longing got resolved, I guess, in my head, and it's a bit more of a content statement on a lot of levels. Or maybe that's because I just listened to Supernova before this, and that's the song about putting it all behind you and making the most of things. But I don't know how to describe it, but it's definitely like a melodic thing that is me that runs between those two bands. I've always written sort of personal lyrics. That's just kind of how I do it. So there's that. I'm trying to, with this new album, I tried to write more in the realm of sort of characters in my head. And of course, then at the end of it, all of them are me.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
totally.
And I did that with the title track of our first Reach album with Closer. That was like, written from the point of view of a stalker. But I was sort of half stalking this girl at the time. So, there's truth in all of it.
Yeah, there's a thread in there at least, right?
Yeah. I love that you listened to that. It's been great that some of the first fans have gone back and listened to it because I think it's worthwhile music for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
We had a great drummer. I love Tommy's drumming. A lot, and he's playing like a lot of country stuff now, and not really getting to spread his wings the way he did in the Reach, which is a bummer. But
I'm trying to think of the one song. I can't remember which release it was from. I think it's the first track, "Goodbye." I think.
Yeah,
that's such a great song.
Thanks,
Jim. If you haven't gone to listen to that one, go listen to it.
I was listening to the Reach today while I was driving.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll definitely listen to it some more. For sure.
Awesome.
You got a lot of nerve. That's all right. I know how to fix that. I'm out.
What did you consciously leave behind, as far as from the reach that you didn't want to take forward? Was there anything that you're like, okay, I did that then, but...
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean,
it's okay if there was nothing.
There was nothing really wrong with the reach, honestly. It's like we broke up just because we were frustrated with our lack of sort of getting fans to our shows, and we took it out on each other, and then afterwards we all became great friends again, and, we did a reunion in 2015, I guess. So there wasn't anything wrong with it. I do wish we had gotten a second guitar player. I think that would have helped the sound of the band. And we looked at it for a while, but we couldn't find anybody we liked. But I'll say this. What I've learned after that I wish I had then is to remember that you're not up there solely for your own personal catharsis. You're there to entertain people and to communicate to the people in the audience. I used to kind of go on stage and just be in my own little zone alone. And it's easy to do because you can't see shit from on stage. It's amazing how little you can see with the lights in your face. So, I think I would have liked to have been more, sort of have more of a relationship with the people listening to it. And that's been really gratifying about Blueburst is I get emails and I get, notes from people saying, hey, this meant something to me. And that's all I can ask for,
Yeah. So there's a sense on significance of somebody who's kind of lived a lifetime, before returning to the stage.
Yeah.
So how did that lived experience shape the album?
Well, it's interesting. The title significance, it's kind of I didn't set out to write a concept album, but I realized, after that, like every song sort of touches on this same area of what does it mean to live a significant life? What does life mean? What's it all for? Vanish was kind of, do I need to stay and fight the man, or should I just fuck off and go to the beach? Maybe that's better for myself. An Executioner song, I don't know if you knew this, but that was written from the point of view of Gary Gilmore, who was the guy who asked to be executed. And I just read that book by Norman Mailer. I saw him on TV and I thought, he's cool. I should read one of his books. And just happened to read that one. And was fascinated with Gary Gilmore as a character and a person who's sort of this articulate, intelligent guy who just had a screw loose from rage built up in him from, years of abuse. And his view was that his life had been bad and he wanted to have a good death. So that's like his thing of significance. But just trying to think through the songs. I mean, there's a lot of life in there for sure. I couldn't have written that album.
Come Alive.
Yeah. I couldn't have written that album.
They all have kind of similar themes in there,
Yeah. I mean, Come Alive is really about my sort of agnosticism, and sort of distaste for organized religion. One of the ones that not that many people mentioned, but that I was really proud of was Finito. And the idea behind that was, what do I want to be saying on my deathbed? How do I want to feel about all of it? And I lost my father last April, and I read the lyrics to him, before he went, and that was a nice moment with him. But it's kind of a small song. It's not like a big rock song, but it's definitely express. It was a good way to end the record.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good way to wrap it up. Yeah. Title, lyrics, sound. It's perfect for the end of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was one of the only, I wrote that on piano. I have a big piano in my house, and I keep meaning to start taking lessons, to get a little bit. But, I can plunk on it a little bit.
And it makes, yeah. How did your collaboration with Marty begin? You kind of talked about this a little bit, but how did it evolve from mentorship to collaborator, partnership?
God, that's a hard question to answer because it was just gradual. It was just such a gradual thing. Like I said, it started with, maybe I'll put out one song. Let's finish one song. I got this one. That's pretty cool. And then he's like, I'll play on it. And he started doing that for, he calls them his sessioneers. He has a few people that kind of, he helps them write the songs, and then he goes in and plays with studio musicians. In my case, was a more developed musician than a lot of people he's working with. So I remember one of the first things, he recorded all these guitars for Amplify Me, and I was like, well, I wanted to play something,
trying to get in there.
So I wound up, mixing us both in. But most of the songs ended up kind of being me, underneath with rhythm guitar and everything, and then him sort of sprinkling what I call Marty magic, on top of it with some, cool parts, and he's really good at writing guitar stuff that are just earworms, and it just comes out of him. He doesn't know what he's playing. He doesn't know any music theory. It's just a natural thing. So, really cool. But sorry, I'm thinking back to your original question.
Okay.
Yeah, it really was just gradual. I don't remember like a moment when it was like, okay, we're partners now on this record, but it happened that way. So.
Yeah. We've now interviewed two bands that were mentored by Marty. So Blueburst and Dover Lights.
Okay. I'm not familiar with them.
Particularly Daniel of the band Dover Lights. It's basically his band, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think about Marty's approach that resonates so deeply with artists who are rebuilding or reinventing themselves?
I think it's just his personality, honestly, and his enthusiasm is just infectious. Anytime he gives me a piece of feedback and tells me I'm doing something that he doesn't like, I tend to bristle at criticism, as most people do. But but with him, it's always coming from a place of, don't you realize this could be so great if you could just do this one thing, and because he just wants to do stuff that's great. That's the only thing that drives him. And so he's the perfect mentor in that way, because you're stupid not to listen to him, because he has so much experience. And in my case, he's made all these records that I love. And B, it's just like, I don't know, there's a quote from John Wooden, the basketball coach, where he said, a great coach is someone who can provide correction without causing resentment. And there you go.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
Yeah. He was really made for doing this. And I think he really enjoys it.
Yeah. It's interesting. I follow him on Facebook, and he'll post albums all the time. And you can tell that he loves music, and he just really has such enthusiasm for it. So clearly that just, goes over into the mentorship and wanting to do that for people and, help them develop that. That's so cool.
I mean, he has 65,000 records. So he has one of the largest collections outside of Elton John.
Oh, I thought it meant that he made.
Yeah. Oh, no.
He has
it's all
over the place.
Thing called the In Deep Music. It's called the In Deep Music Archive.
Wow.
They're in Porto, where he lives now. He had it moved from London, or not London.
Wow.
Where it was. 65,000 records and on vinyl, tons of CDs and everything. And it's just he's just picked it all up over the years. So that's a music fan for you.
Yeah,
for sure. And he doesn't just do hold up at the album and take his photo with it like a lot of the vinyl people. He'll actually give commentary, like what he likes about the album or what was great about it. I think it's really cool. I love seeing those posts, reading.
I think he really likes writing about music, and like he wrote the liner notes for some re-releases of the couple Church albums, and I thought they were great. He's a really good writer, which is why his blog does so well. He's got a lot of subscribers, and it's cool.
Yeah, you can read for hours there.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's all good.
Yeah. And he's very faithfully does it every day too. I don't know how he does it. But.
So what was something that Marty said or did during the process that fundamentally changed the direction of a song or your confidence as a writer?
That's sort of two questions. The first one I'll answer, change the direction of a song, was we were working on Supernova, and we were at the guitar solo part, and he just kind of goes, he's listening to it, and he goes, oh, you know what would make this great is if you bumped it up a step for the guitar solo, and you did a key change there. And I'm like, that's going to require re-recording the entire fucking song. But you're absolutely right. That's going to be great. So, but it turned out great. So yeah, that was fun, and then, my confidence as a songwriter. I wish I had better answers for this because it's all just so gradual, but just the fact that he wants to do it and is interested in these songs and wants to play on it is just so flattering in the first place.
Gives you a lift just having that from him.
Yeah, and he doesn't effusively pour praise all over me, but I can tell that he thinks it's good, and he's
Does he tell you when something's crap? Like, listen, that sounds like shit, man.
Yeah, pretty much, and it's usually me just kind of being sloppy about timing or, stuff you learn, I guess, from being in a studio for a long more than I've been in. I'm not the most precise musician in the world, so he's like, it has to be in tune. It has to be on the beat, Yeah, that was a good piece of advice he gave me. It's so simple, but he just goes, everything has to be right.
Just very
and
just everything has to be right. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, we used to talk about it in advertising too. It's like you can screw up an ad by just having the wrong shirt on somebody. There's a lot of ways to do it. So it's it definitely. I think I have in my life had a tendency to be like, oh, all right, that's good enough. Let's move on. He won't let me do that, which is great.
That's the whole piece you started out with the interview with was, he kept raising the stakes for you and lifting you up a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So our fun question, or one of our fun questions that we always ask. Okay. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money? Okay. And what did it mean to you at the time? And what do you still listen to that? Do you still enjoy whatever it is?
Well, I'm trying to remember. I mean, I know the first 45 I ever bought was Urgent by Foreigner. And I still love that song.
That's respectable, for sure.
It's got a killer saxophone solo. I love the little, the way they echoed his guitar at the beginning. It sort of made it like new wavy. And then I think the first album I ever bought my own money was one of those K-Tel albums. Do you remember those?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The one called High Voltage, and it had like Turn Me Loose by Loverboy, which I still love.
Me too.
I forget what else, but a bunch of the 80s stuff. So I do remember, though, when I got a CD player, I was in about the eighth or ninth grade, the first two CDs I bought were REM Murmur and Hemispheres by Rush. So
solid choices.
Yeah, all good. So nothing to be embarrassed about for your choices.
It's funny. My parents had one of those big pieces of furniture that's like a stereo in it, and you lift up the thing.
We talked about that on one of our recent episodes.
And when I was a little kid, I would go and put a record on and then lean in and watch the record go around and set the thing on the top of my head.
Yeah.
And it started to wear out the hair on my head. So my parents told me the record player was broken. And I think they thought I was like autistic or something because I would sit there and just stare at the record going around. But I think in retrospect, I've always loved just like stereo, for lack of a better word. And I think I probably liked getting in the sweet spot right in between the two speakers. But I always wondered, my parents had kind of terrible taste in music. So I was wondering if they had owned...
What were your parents listening to?
If they had just a copy of Pet Sounds or, Sgt. Pepper or something. But no, it was like Streisand and Manilow and Neil Diamond and Johnny Mathis and Judy Collins and Roger Whittaker and...
Jim Croce.
Jim Croce. The Carpenters. Jim Croce, yeah.
Bread. I like Bread.
Oh, yeah, Bread. Bread has some good songs. Cake does a great cover of Guitar Man by Bread.
Cake does some great covers in general.
Yeah. They did the two cool albums they had was Johnny Cash Greatest Hits and the Graduate soundtrack. So at least
that's cool.
Yeah, still my favorite movie, I think.
Yeah,
Graduate.
Every once in a while I watch it. So, what was your favorite album growing up? One that kind of shaped your sense of melody and mood or guitar tone?
It's got to be one of the REM albums. I'm going to say Life's Rich Pageant. as far as like influencing me, because it was out right about the time I was learning to play guitar. I loved the guitar sounds on that album. I thought it's very like American, I constantly get the Stipe comparison on my voice, which is a catch-22. It's like, thank you, yes, I love his voice, but you don't want to be a carbon copy of anybody. And since I live down the road from them here in Atlanta, it's easy to think, God, am I just copying him? But every time I try not to sound like him, I still sound like him. So I don't know much I can do about it.
I don't think you sound like a dead ringer. I mean, I can hear, that in there, but
yeah. I have tried to. I did notice one thing I picked up from him is for a while is sort of pinching your E's. It's like why, kind of thing. And I've tried to stop doing that.
I heard of Bob Mould, who said kind of like Bob Mould.
That's what I thought too, Jim. Yeah. Thank you. I thought Sugar. I was thinking of Sugar.
Sugar, yeah. Bob
I hear Sugar all the time, and it's funny because I really didn't listen to them much. I had a copy of Copper Blue. And since everyone started telling me I would sound like Bob Mould, I've gone back and listened to all the stuff, and I love it. But I think there's a pace that I tried to get on this record. And, I mentioned the song Private Idaho a lot about it because it's just got this.
Yeah. You want to sound like Fred? That's what you're going for? Is that what you're telling me?
But just the pace of those songs. I think Sugar's the same way. They're fast. They're fast songs.
Yeah.
And I really tried to push the tempos on these to get them as fast as they could go comfortably. It's easy to write sort of mid-tempo stuff just because that's where your head goes. And a lot of the Reach stuff was kind of mid-tempo, although not all of it. But so I really wanted to have some energy, just energy from tempo. And if you go back and listen to Murmur, that's the other album I was going to say instead of Life's Rich Pageant. Those songs are fast. You wouldn't think it, but like Gardening at Night, that's not a murmur, but that's fast. And, even like a song like Pilgrimage is fast if you really count out the tempo. So, anyway.
Yeah. Do you hear echoes of those early records that you listen to, like carrying through to Blueburst sound for you personally?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm more echoey than the REM would ever have been. And that comes from The Cure and The Church and, Echo and the Bunnymen and bands like that. Yeah, I always loved The Laws. You guys remember that record?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I always felt like it was a great combination of sort of uber vintage guitar tones, but with, some echoes pinging around here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I love that song Looking Glass, the guitar tones on that. And that was a really influential album for me, I think, for a lot of people. It's a shame he hasn't done any more, but I remember hearing the Pretenders song Back on the Chain Gang and thinking that's what I want my guitar to sound like at one point, like very sort of American, but then with some British echo on it, and that's kind of where I started.
I love those Pretenders albums too.
Yeah.
I didn't really know them very well at the time when, Brass in Pocket and, some of those other songs came out.
Yeah.
I didn't really discover their full albums until much later. They're really good.
Yeah, there's some brilliant stuff for sure. I love their cover of Stop Your Sobbing by the Kinks. I didn't know it was a cover for years.
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't heard that.
That's great. Huh. It's on like a greatest hits or something. Or no, it's on their first record, I think. Yeah.
So Blueburst sound kind of moves fluidly between 80s post-punk shimmer, 90s alt-rock grit, and sort of a modern emotional clarity, that kind of comes together with that. So how intentional was that?
I'm proud of that,
How intentional was that, or is that just in your DNA of, how you over the years?
I think it's the guitar sounds are in my DNA for sure. I guess there's more sort of dirty guitar on Blueburst than there is maybe in the Reach, but the more grungy kind of stuff, which I think is just an influence of the 90s in general. It's interesting to me that, a lot of people hear it and they just go, oh, it's 90s. And I think that's because of the drum sound. I wanted to have a sound that sounded like a drum kit in a room and didn't sound like a close mic drum in a booth. And that seems to be sort of the soup du jour of indie music now, is to have that muted kind of drum sound, but I wanted to have big bombastic drums, and I had a drummer who's great at doing that. I remember telling him, I'm like, on the continuum of like Ringo Starr to Neil Peart, I want you to be sort of here, sort of 2/3 Neil Peart. So, but I think the drum sound, it was very intentional on my part, but I don't know that I was intentionally trying to make it sound 90s or anything. And I'm proud of the fact that it does sound modern somehow, even with all the retro influences. Back to Murmur again. I remember reading that they wanted to make an album that sounded timeless, like it could have been recorded yesterday, or it could have been recorded 40 years ago or 40 years from now. So I that's always in the back of my head. I think it's like I don't ever want to do anything too stylish that sort of reeks of any particular genre. And I'm really proud of the Reach records for that we didn't fall prey to that sort of sound that everyone was doing with like two guitars, one left, one right, big, so.
Yeah. The backing vocals on some of the tracks like Amplify Me and Come Alive, they kind of add this unexpected texture. So how did those ideas develop to do that? I don't know if that was you or stacked vocals or what it was. But.
Yeah, it's like 20 of me or something like that.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember reading this thing with Brian Wilson talking about an album he did like in the 90s, and he said, I just recorded every vocal part 4 times. And I was like, wow, okay. That's why it sounds like that. But yeah, on Amplify Me, it just seemed to fit musically that guitar part. I felt like I needed something over that, and I just kind of went one day and then thought, oh, well, I should add another harmony on top of that. And,
yeah, it sounds really cool.
Yeah, I like that. It kind of went psychedelic there for a minute with it.
Mm-hmm.
Come Alive was an interesting song because the way that one was written was I went to Michael Jerome and I said, write me a drum part and then I'll write a song to it. And so he did that. He sent me, some different parts and I kind of chopped them up and arranged it and then wrote the song over it. And I don't know why I put those backing vocals there on Come Alive. I just kind of did. I wish I had a better answer for you. I think it was partially that I didn't really have a good melody to sing over that part because the guitar part's moving around all over the place, So I kind of just have the little quick melodies in between stanzas.
Yeah, speaking of the guitar, you often have contrast of like sort of the lilting guitar with melodic lines, and then you have the more jagged driving, especially, for example, on Kick My Tires.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you think about balancing beauty and tension in those arrangements? Because a lot of songs have, that contrasting feel.
I think it just depends on the song. I mean, with Kick My Tires, that song is really about like just craziness going on in my own head and making me act like a dick. So I told Marty, I said, this song is about like, basically it's about like me being really angry and mentally ill and just a mess in my head. So just let it rip, I feel like one thing that indie or alternative music is a bad thing about it is it's taken away some of the bombast and fun of rock and roll. It was like, U2 was such a statement against hair metal that it was like, how dare you play a guitar solo at all? And Peter Buck wouldn't play guitar solos, and The Cure don't really do guitar solos, although they did later. But although now I think about it, they've done a bunch. Like that song "The Kiss" is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say, hey, there's you don't have to hold back and try to be cool. There's nothing wrong with Eddie Van Halen. There's nothing wrong with shredding a little bit and right. If it fits the song and you're not doing it just to show off. So yeah, that was fun recording that. That was at a studio in Dallas where Marty was working on another thing. And so I just drove out there and recorded with him for a couple of days. And,
that's cool.
And yeah, it was nice. But yeah, that was fun. I got video of him tracking that solo, which was cool. So
songs like Vanish and Come Alive seem to wrestle with belonging and disillusionment and kind of also letting go, right? Like I give up, I'm just going to, So what personal experiences fed into that? I know you're doing a lot of characters in the songs, right? But I think there's some of you in there too.
Well, yeah, for sure. And I think Vanish, came about, as a lot of the songs did, during that summer when, George Floyd was happening. And it just seemed like there was all kinds of protests going on out in the world, and I wasn't saying I agree or disagree with any of them. And I'll get to Amplify Me too, because that's kind of in the same realm. But I just had this feeling of like, God, I just don't have the energy to care about every one of these things. What if we just got the fuck out of here? And then I thought, what if everybody said that? What if Adolf Hitler had said, you know what? Fuck this, let's go to the beach. It's kind of like if everyone would just chill the fuck out. Maybe it would be better. And I felt almost guilty about writing Vanish because it does feel like a song saying just quit caring, but it was an honest feeling that I had, and it doesn't, you don't have to act on every single feeling you have,
Yeah, for sure.
I'll tell you, an interesting thing about Vanish to me is I realized sort of midway through doing it that the arrangement was very similar to Won't Get Fooled Again, which is one of my favorite songs, probably everyone's. And I started to think of the lyrics as being sort of a sequel to Won't Get Fooled Again, because Won't Get Fooled Again is basically saying, hey, you know what? Sure, I'll join your revolution and I'll come to your rally and I'll do all that shit. But man, I just hope it doesn't turn out to be bullshit again. I think that's the message of that song. And then the final line is meet the new boss, same as the old boss, meaning to me, yeah, well, it did turn out to be horseshit, because I think it's a very cynical song in that way. But I started thinking of Vanish as sort of like, all right, well, this is not saying, I hope we don't get fooled again. This is saying, let's just get the hell out of Dodge, And so the little drum break right before or after the acoustic bit, I purposely made it like an homage to Won't Get Fooled Again and had Michael Drum go all Keith Moon on it. So unfortunately, I don't have the vocal pipes to put in a scream like Won't Get Fooled Again has.
No Roger Daltrey.
Yeah. But Amplify Me is another one that was sort of about, all the people out protesting. It's all a sense of not being heard, I think. And the protagonist in that is just somebody who's just frustrated and wants to be heard and is willing to maybe even resort to violence to be heard, And again, I wasn't trying to take any particular position on any particular issue. I just wanted to present that feeling of rage that comes from just feeling like no one is fucking listening to me, and I've got to do something to make it happen. So
some of the stuff you've mentioned ties into my next question. How about the tension that acknowledged the limits of life, but still wanting to squeeze every drop out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I might as well called Supernova Midlife Crisis. I was turning 50, and when you turn 50, you start thinking about things, and
for sure.
I just, decided that I didn't want to mope around about being 50. I wanted to just keep pushing and I feel like I wasted a lot of years in my youth, just being an idiot, and being depressed. And I'm kind of trying to grab some of that back now. And so it really was sort of a conscious decision on my part. And it led to making the album, that sense. It's funny. My wife came up with the line, "No one gets out alive." I played her the music for Supernova and I said, "Do you want to come up with an idea for this?" Because to me, it sort of musically felt like it would fit with something about her recovery. She's been sober now for 6 years and is doing great. And
awesome.
At the time it was kind of new and still like, holy shit, life is good. now that I don't have to worry about all that.
Yeah.
And she said, but I keep getting back to this thing of, don't take any of it too seriously because no one gets out alive. And it just happened to fit the meter of the song kind of perfectly. Yeah, and cool. But then, as I started to write it, it became about my own stuff because I guess I'm narcissistic. And she never gave me any more lyric ideas past just that line. So.
That's a good one.
But yeah, it's a joyous song, I think, and I really enjoy playing it. And I'm really proud of the bridge on that one because it's sort of more musically complex than some of the stuff I write. And there's a line in it. I said, May said to do it right, and one's all you need. I was referring to Mae West, who said, you only get one life, but if you do it right, that's enough, or something. I forget the exact wording.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
I missed that one.
Yeah.
I missed that one in the lyrics. That's cool. I have to go back and read that.
But
no one gets any more time, right?
Yeah, and the reality too is that someday, millions of years from now, the sun is going to explode, and all this will be completely gone. And that sounds depressing, but to me, it's sort of the existentialist thing of like, well, once you accept that, then it's like, well, fuck,
then it's free.
Let's roll. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Let's make the most out of what we got here. So
exactly. Right.
And you say, what would you do if you die tomorrow? Well, you sort of are. You don't know.
Yeah. Tomorrow, right?
10 years, 20 years. It's all. You're still. It's going to happen.
30 years from now. That from now to then, that's a blip, right?
Yeah. I saw some video where a guy said, "Would you?" What was it? I'm trying to remember the logic. It was basically like, would you take $10 million if you weren't going to wake up tomorrow? And the guy's like, no. He said, see, look at that. You just turned down $10 million just so you could get up tomorrow. Your life is valuable, And it didn't make any sense because you can't really do much with $10 million in 24 hours. But it was
party.
Yeah. It was.
Still, the point is in there.
Yeah, somewhere buried. Yeah,
somewhere buried.
Somewhere in social media.
You kind of grasp it, but
there's deep wisdom in social media sometimes.
Yeah. Oh,
not often, not much.
Sometimes. Every once in a while. Can you tell the story of the significance cover?
Yeah, it's a section of a photograph from a friend of mine that I went to college with and have been friends with for over 30 years. His name's Gus Schmeggy, and he does a lot of commercial photography, but his art photography is generally taking something from nature and sort of turning it on its ear so that you can't quite recognize what it is. And I just, he'd been helping me with a lot of photography stuff, and I just thought it was a beautiful photo and decided I wanted to call the band Blueburst, named after one of my the finish on my Rick over there. There it is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. And it was blue, and I just thought it was a really beautiful image, and so went with that. But Gus is a terrific guy and a terrific photographer, and I was glad to be able to have him on there. So.
Nice. We talked about the songs, some of the tracks a little bit, but we'll talk about them a little bit more. So, "Vanish" in my notes, it reminds me of like a Echo and the Bunnymen song. It's bouncy and it has that swirling rhythm. So,
yeah. I wrote that little chuggy guitar riff and the drum sort of. I wrote that like in 2002 when I was living in New York.
Oh, yeah.
And had it buried on my hard drive, and then I was like, that's really good. I got to figure out something to do with that, and pulled it out. And a lot of the songs on the album, a few of them were just from scratch. Like Supernova was from scratch and Kick My Tires was from scratch, but a lot of them were, stuff that I had laying around.
I was going to get ready to ask if
Senseless. The riff for Senseless I found, buried on my hard drive, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So yeah, that did happen a lot.
I really like the lyric in that one. A picture show that no one pictured.
Yeah.
A hell that no one feared.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was COVID, really, in my mind. It just was so foreign to anything any of us expected to see happen. And, I think people now have forgotten the death that went along with that. 1 million people died of that. And I was talking to a friend of mine. He's like, well, man, half of them weren't real diagnoses or whatever. And I'm like, okay so 500,000 people died. Yeah, and I remember, seeing the body bags, and it was awful. awful thing, and I feel like we've just sort of glossed over it in history now, which is too bad. But
that was kind of like the Holocaust. In my early 20s, there were people talking about, there weren't really 6 million Jews killed. Or I'm like, yeah, but
okay. Let's say it was just 1 million.
We can argue about the number if you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Definition of gaslighting right there.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So then we talked about Come Alive a little bit, and I'm probably totally off, so I'm not going to say what I thought about it.
Oh, go ahead. I mean, I love that about music.
I put down something about spiritual or philosophical reckoning with your belief, the belief system or not lack thereof or whatever.
Yeah. It definitely is.
Pushing back on manufactured belief.
Absolutely.
We see a lot. Yeah.
That's well said, and it just drives me nuts, seeing the way people twist themselves into pretzels of logic, to use religion to justify horrible things. I just don't buy any of it. I could be wrong. I'm not. They say an atheist is someone who says there is nothing, period. And I'm more like, how can any of us know anything, about this? Yeah, that song really is kind of just touching on my distaste for, really, you said it really well, a manufactured religion.
I had another phrase in there: inherited certainty.
Yeah.
Which is a kind of interesting phrase. I don't know where I came up with that.
Well,
but
one theory is like, if they teach you religion when you're 5 years old or whatever, you believe it, but if it didn't exist and then somebody just came to you at age 25 or 30 and said, hey, there's this guy and he was born of a virgin birth and, then he said all this nice stuff and then he was crucified and then came back to life. And now all your sins are forgiven. You would think that was ridiculous, I don't know. Maybe you guys are religious, and I'm offending you right now.
No, I see both sides of it, But I get what you're saying. I think there's a lot of freedom in not knowing. And even if you have a belief in God, the certainty about what a lot of people believe, particularly in Western, American Christianity, is like they're very certain about certain things about God. It's like, you don't know that. You don't know exactly what's going to happen when you die.
Exactly.
And a myriad of other things. They're very certain. And I'm like, to me, that puts, if you believe in God, that you're designing God the way you want him to be.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I really like this political candidate now, and I rarely like a political candidate, but James Tallarico, I really like him out of Texas. And he's a religious guy, but he's very much about, hey, you can get things from all the different religions. We need to respect all the different religions. Government shouldn't have anything to do with religion. And I posted that on Blueburst that I was going to sort of endorse him, for lack of a better word. And one guy said, hey, we can disagree politically, and I'll still listen to your music. And I was like, well, hey, that's cool, because I've had a few people say, I can't listen to you anymore because you said you went to the No Kings rally. But he said, I disagree with you about Tallarico. I think he's preaching a twisted version of Christianity and blah, blah, blah. And I thought about it a while back, and I'm like, it doesn't matter what I think about his version of Christianity. What matters is his version of government to me, which is that the government shouldn't tell you what to think about your religion, and the government should stay the fuck out of it and should respect everyone. So there's a little bit of that in Come Alive for sure. And I think the phrase "Come Alive" is kind of a ham-fisted attempt to say, let's worry about life here instead of the afterlife.
Yeah.
So let's be alive today.
Ties in with some of the other songs, I think.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Taking life by the balls.
Yep. Exactly. Now I don't know how well I followed through on any of that stuff, but I wrote some good music about it. So I'm trying. So
yeah, you'll keep working at it. Come on.
Yeah, it's a constant.
It's a
race,
journey, right?
It's a journey.
Would you say race? And I said journey.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels like a race, more so than it used to be.
The older
I get,
more of a race it is.
I gotta get some shit done. I need to leave a legacy.
Yeah. Right. No, but it's kind of, I look back on my 20 years hiatus or whatever, and I'm like, what was I doing? What I could have been. If I could go back, and everyone wants to do that, right? You want to go back to yourself 20 years ago and give yourself a pep talk, but
yeah.
I don't know. It really, for me, I just really want to try to make up for that. So, but again, I couldn't have written Significance when I was 25, so
right.
It's, it is what it is.
You wish you could have, right? But
exactly.
You couldn't have.
No.
We talked about the song Kick My Tires a little bit. You talked about that.
Yeah.
I just want to say bonus points for using the word whimsy in a song.
That's funny. Yeah, thanks. I get a lot of compliments on the Kaiser Soze reference.
Yes. Yep. That's up next. In Supernova.
Kick My Tires is kind of about this thing that I've done over the years with people where I kind of get infatuated with them, and not necessarily sexually, sometimes it's sexually, but just like, and I start caring about their opinion more than my opinion of myself. And it's really about that. And that never leads anywhere productive or good or happy to do that.
You just described me, Craig. Especially in relationships.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Not a healthy thing, but still, I do it.
It's an intervention right now.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Jim?
It's an intervention right now, Jimmy. We're here for it.
Is that what this is?
That's right.
We're gonna flip it around.
That's right.
It's funny. I had a guy say to me that he really liked the line, "I won't live according to Hoyle." And
I saw that line.
Yeah,
I had to look up what that meant.
Well, I got it. I had a psychotherapist. One of the first times I ever went to therapy was like 97, I guess. And he told me about this scene in a movie where there's this cowboy or whatever, and he goes, "We ain't playing this game according to Hoyle. We're playing it according to me." And he basically was saying, you need to take that attitude and start, quit reacting to everything and maybe try to take some proactiveness, do it according to your own rules. You don't have to do that. So, that one stuck with me. Yeah.
I didn't realize that was from a movie. I just searched it up. I was like, who is Hoyle? He did this and it was, I don't know, when I found it, it was probably on Wikipedia or something, but it was a guy who came up with the rules of play or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
for cards and stuff like that.
It's in Pulp Fiction. He goes some about whether or not this was an according to Hoyle miracle or not.
See, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
I have to watch it again.
Your song is the first time that it resonated with me.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
You outshone Pulp Fiction for me. So.
Yeah, I don't remember that line.
Yeah.
But the Kaiser says the footsteps walking away, right? That was pretty good.
Yeah.
That illusion in the song. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, there's few better metaphors for something just being gone. I mean, that's the last.
Yeah, that's perfect.
He goes, poof, he's gone or something like that. I forget. Yeah. So good.
I did want to mention the drum fill in Supernova too. I think that's really cool in there.
I wanted to leave some room for Michael Jerome to play, and do something cool. And so I just kind of didn't really have a great transition from verse to chorus. And I'm like, well, I'll just leave some room here for him. And,
I love it. It reminds me of a song. I don't know. Do you remember the band called Remy Zero?
Vaguely, yeah.
I'm sure you heard Save Me because that was the one. But they had some really good music. And I don't even know who the drummer is in that band, but he did something in one of the songs that's just almost exact like that, and it's so cool. Yeah. It's like it just kind of it's set apart from the rest of the it fills in. So and he does it more than once. So yeah, it's really cool.
I told Michael Drum at the beginning of this, I'm like, I love drums. I think drums get overlooked in indie music, and I love Neil Peart and I love Stuart Copeland and I love really good drumming. And again, it just sort of became uncool, to like, what do you mean a drum solo? You're going to put a drum solo? No, you can't do that. We're being earnest. We're talking about apartheid. You can't put a drum solo. So, I wanted to have some great drumming in there. That was my first instrument was drums. You can see, you still got it.
I get excited when I hear drums. Oh, cool. That was your first instrument?
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. And
we didn't ask that question, Jim. We usually ask that. Craig is way ahead of us.
Peter Gabriel's writing process supposedly is he starts with the rhythm, and so all of his stuff has interesting rhythm rhythmically in it. And
I'm sure it changes everything if you start that way.
Yeah. So much cool stuff.
Jim, have you done that? Have you thought about a drum sound first and then designed a song around it, or
not much? No, but we want to. So yeah.
Well, it's time.
It was a lot harder doing that on Come Alive than I thought it was going to be. I went through several different iterations, and I'm like, what am I going to do on this? And I'm like, I got to do it. I can't let Michael Jerome down.
Did he have any feedback, or you just pretty much you told him what you wanted?
Well, no, I just told him to send me whatever. I said, send me some drumming, and try to give me a verse and a chorus and a couple other little things in your head, but I'll write music to it. So it was cool. I might do it again.
Yeah, you should. That sounds cool.
A half century gone, proof like Kaiser Soze's footsteps. And what have I done? Nothing much worth mentioning yet, but time marches on. But I don't much like marching with it. I still feel young. I want to reinvent myself. No one gets out of line. No one gets any more time. No one gets out of line. No one gets any more time. They said to do it right, and one's all you need. But everything flies by at breakneck speed. I want to stick around and see how this all ends. If we survive until the supernova does us all in.
So
I feel like, well, no, as you say, Amplify Me started out as drums, but it really didn't. It started out as that guitar riff. So anyway.
there's a lot of good drumming though, like in a lot of the songs. Like you can definitely tell there's a focus in there and it stands out. So pretty cool. My two favorite songs right now are Vanish and then Bravado. I really like that one a lot.
Now,
it's very church-like, of course.
Well, are you aware that it's a cover of a Rush song?
I had no idea. No idea.
It is, yeah.
I am aware just now.
It's it was always one of my favorites of theirs, and I've been a huge Rush fan for many, many years. And now in 2026, you don't have to be embarrassed about being a Rush fan.
No, everybody loves them.
Yeah.
Drummer.
But when Neil Peart died, I was very sad, and I was going to maybe do like a little EP with 3 songs done of their songs done with without drums, sort of saying, he's irreplaceable, so we're not going to put drums on this. And I never, I did do the second one. I did release it as a single. I did The Pass, which is also a Rush song, but Bravado just fits so well lyrically into my album that I said, you know what, I'm not going to do the EP. I'm just going to put it on here because it's really, that idea that without coming out and saying it, it sort of is about that idea that, when you're on your deathbed, I'm obsessed with my deathbed, I guess, but you're not going to regret the stuff that you did. You're going to regret the stuff you didn't do, the stuff you didn't go after. And he's saying if you go after the dream and you don't make it, you will pay the price, but you won't count the cost. Meaning you won't sit around thinking about how much you paid, I guess.
A summit too lofty, river a little too wide. If we keep our pride, though paradise is lost, we will pay the price, but we will not count the cost. We will pay the price, but we will not count the cost. And if the music stops, there's only the sound of the rain. All the hope and glory.
I always love that sentiment. And I
Me
think
too.
it tied into the theme of the album and, this sort of sense of, hey, I'm going to go for this in making the album. So a buddy of mine, actually a guy who's going to be playing with Blueburst, hopefully, said he thought mine was better than the Rush version. And I'm like, blasphemy.
Oh, wow.
Blasphemy.
How dare you?
Now I got to go back and listen, and I'll let you know if I agree or disagree.
It's very different. I mean, there's this kind of, it's kind of got like a peppy kind of beat to it. So it's very, very different. And I wanted, when I do covers, I want them to be, a million miles away from the original. Otherwise, why do it? So.
Well, you're doing it. We're getting ready to talk about covers next.
Cool.
Train in Vain.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool because the lyrics of that song hit me in a different way that I never did before. And I've heard the Clash's version many times.
Yeah.
It didn't even hit me what the actual lyrics are in this thing. But on your song, I'm hearing them all. So
yeah. Well, what happened with that? Well, a couple of things. A few years back, I guess it was like 2017 or so. There are these people out in LA who were contacting all these musicians saying they wanted to use their music in a movie that they were making. And they had this list of songs they wanted to have covers done of. And it turned out to be complete bullshit. It was a complete.
When was this?
2000. Let's see, I was living in Brooklyn and I was there. Oh, no, it would have been before that. It would have been like sometime 2015 to 17. And it turned out to be complete bullshit. Some people lost a lot of money on studio time making music for them. Fortunately, I sort of thought it was bullshit. And so I was like, well, this is a good reason for me to go try to make some music again because I haven't been doing it. And so I kind of came up with that little guitar riff for Train in Vain and never could quite get it to work. And then the whole thing turned to be bullshit. So I just shelved it. And then, again, back to, COVID and George Floyd and all that stuff. I heard it at a club, or not a club, but a bar one night. I heard the original Clash version. And it suddenly hit me that, like, the lyrics could be an American singing, who's disillusioned with his country, singing that to his country. And then I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I just, leaned into making it this languid, thing. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. And people online are either like, this is the worst Clash thing I've ever heard. You completely missed the spirit of the song. Or they're like, this is the best Clash thing I've ever heard. And so that's good when stuff like that happens, But again,
that's the way it's going to be.
I didn't want to capture the spirit of the song. They already did that.
Right.
You're not going to match that fucking song. That's a great song.
Right.
You're going to do it some completely different.
And why would you do it exactly the same way? What's the point?
No reason.
Yeah.
You say you stand by your man. Well, tell me something I don't understand. You say you love me, and that's a fact. But then you left me, said you felt trapped. Well, some things you can't explain away, but this heart aches in me to this day. You didn't stand by me, no, not at all. You didn't stand by me, no way. All the times that we were close, I remember those things the most. I see all my dreams come tumbling down, but I can't be happy without you around. So alone I keep the wolves at bay, and there's only one thing I can say. You didn't stand by me, no, not at all. You didn't stand by me, no way. You must explain why this must be. Did you lie when you spoke to me?
So this might tie into my next question. So when you approach a cover, what's the line between honoring the original and discovering something new inside of it? Maybe you're always trying to discover something new or kind of reshape it.
Yeah, I think it's that, yeah, I think it's just basically that. Just why do it the same? I'm going to do a cover. I'm going to try to change it up. Train of Vain was sort of assigned to me in a way. The John Denver one that I did was a song that I loved as a little kid. I was a big John Denver fan when I was a little kid. My parents took me to his concert when I was 4, and I fell asleep because I was 4 years old. But one of my earliest memories was I lived a couple years in Poughkeepsie, New York as a little kid, and we were moving out, and these people across the street knew I liked John Denver, and so they gave me a little Radio Shack tape player and John Denver's greatest hits. So I just have this image in my head of listening to John Denver's greatest hits, and it was gray, and the house was empty, and it just being like really melancholy. I mean, even at that young age, I've had this wash of emotion, or maybe I just have it now remembering it, but so I just had a lot of affection for that song, and I had met Riley Schatz, who I got to sing on it, and she did a terrific job. I originally was hoping I could get Juliana Hatfield to sing on it because she had just done an album of Olivia Newton-John covers.
Yeah, I've heard that album.
Yeah, but I never heard back.
Who else? What was the other one she did? Oh shoot,
she did a Police one, and then
Police.
I think she did an ELO one too.
Oh wow!
Okay, I didn't hear that one yet. Okay, yeah. I got to go find that one.
She's incredible, an incredible singer. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. She just recorded a new album, I think, recently.
Yeah.
Was that the John Denver cover that you're talking about?
Yeah. It was.
What was the duet?
It was a duet between. It was "Fly Away."
"Fly Away." Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it was originally a duet with him and Olivia Newton-John, and it's just kind of this melancholy song about this woman being lonely in the city, and I met Riley Schatz. She's the daughter of a friend of mine, and saw her sing, and I was just like, dang, she's great. She'll be great on this. So that worked out. Cool. She's interesting. She does songs. She writes songs about Greek mythology. They're kind of interesting, and some of them are kind of like, you're hearing about Greek mythology, and then some of them are like could just be about everyday life. So,
so you said her name is Riley Schatz? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Riley Schatz. Okay, we'll check her out too. That's cool. Sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
I think Jim mentioned a few other in our notes. He mentioned some other songs that you covered. Peaceful, Easy Feeling.
Yeah, that one was. I'm kind of embarrassed about that one. Not that I think it's a bad.
You should do that one like super fast paced.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it. The cover.
Well,
Jim, did you hear it?
Yes.
I mean, I don't think it's bad what I did with it, but the reason I did it was bad.
Okay.
The reason was there was a thing, I don't remember where I found it, but it was somebody was looking for a new version of that for an ad, and I had just started looking into like sync placements and could I get money for my music sync placements, and that was one of my dad's favorite songs, and it's one I heard in the car constantly growing up, so I thought, I'll take a crack at this, and so I originally just did it for that, and it didn't get picked, and then I got on this kick of I got obsessed with my Spotify numbers for a bit and kept reading that you got to put out a new song every 6 weeks. You got to put out a new song every 6 weeks on Spotify or no one will listen to it. Oh, so I was like, all right, I'll put this out, and then I regretted it. And I've since taken all our music off Spotify, and I just detest Spotify. So yeah.
Yeah, I saw you weren't on there. I was like, okay, I understand. I got it.
Yeah. I mean, I have mixed feelings about it because it's, a lot of people discovered us on there through the algorithm. But, I mean, I had 3,500 followers or something, but so I hate that.
Yeah.
But I'm just fed up with it. It's just destroying musicians' ability to make a living. And so the only people you're going to hear music from anymore is guys like me who can, fund it themselves because I'm, a 55-year-old guy with a long career, But the touring now is not lucrative because of all these the venues are all owned by Live Nation, and that's a monopoly. And I've seen big artists on now talking about how they lose money when they tour, so they can't do it. And then you don't get any money from streaming. So how are you going to?
Man.
It's. I think there's going to be some kind of reckoning of it. Jimmy Iovine was on the internet a few days ago or a week ago saying he thinks it's at the very end of its life, the streaming. And I think maybe what'll happen is the record companies. I think they're going to realize that they're better off having like a space for an artist where that artist can have more of a relationship with the fans. Maybe like a lot of artists' websites really don't do much, but expanding on that, maybe it's a subscription model. I'm thinking about doing a Blue subscription model, where there's people who are casual listeners who are still going to go to Spotify and just turn it on. But the people who are really into artists, who are willing to spend money on it, may go and subscribe. Marty has a bunch of subscribers to his blog for $10 a month, and that really helps him financially, to keep doing what he's doing. So, I think there's going to be more sort of creative stuff like that artists do to fund themselves. And there's a book by an artist named Amanda Palmer, who's basically been really, really good at sort of self-promoting her career. And not in you say self-promoting, it sounds like a bad thing, but, she's like, look, ask, people want to support you. They get something out of it by supporting you and feeling like they, scored one for the good guys, and I subscribe to the Trash Can Sinatra's Substack. I don't know if you remember them, but I always loved that. And I saw they were sort of starting to make music again. I'm like, well, I just want to support that. I don't listen, I don't read the blog very often at all. So, but I'm like, I want the Trash Can Sinatras to be able to keep making music. So
yeah, that's cool.
And they made some good stuff over the past 10 years or so.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of bands are going to Patreon type subscriptions.
Yeah.
And also Bandcamp.
Yeah.
There's a few bands that
downside,
I know of that, and I think that's can work,
The tough part about it is that suddenly you're not just a musician, you have to become a content creator, and you have to be.
That's right.
If you're going to charge a subscription fee, you've got to be providing stuff,
right?
Or else it's just a donation, and there are people who donate. I mean, I've had people on Bandcamp, they buy the album and then they tack on an extra $5. They allow you to do that. But I don't know. I hate talking about it because it sounds like a musician griping about money, but it's not really me. It's not really me I'm worried about. It's the industry as a whole and the ability of people to start bands and make a living doing it. And get good.
Yeah, it's just not balanced, the way it is right now.
No. And then you add to it that they were running ICE ads on Spotify, and Daniel Ek, the CEO, is worth more than Taylor Swift, and it started investing in these like military AI drones. And
I didn't even know they were running those ads.
I saw a thing about him the other day where a guy pointed out that never once in the years of covering this guy, it was a journalist. He said never once in the years of covering this guy has he ever heard him say that he liked a piece of music. All he ever does is talk about the data. He's just purely data, and he's not a music fan. He has a playlist on Spotify that's been the same for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like the worst possible guy to be running that. So anyway.
Doesn't even appreciate his product.
Yeah. Sorry, I just went off on a rant about the music.
Oh no, I'm thinking along with you.
Yeah,
it's a good rant.
Yeah, there is that element of the if you have a subscription thing, then you kind of have some forced art. You have to create content, and it's like
But on the other hand, I do think it's interesting to people to hear half-written stuff.
I love that. I love demos.
Yeah.
I'm always talking about that on the podcast. Like, I love the demo stuff and hearing I like a lot of artists they'll put stuff out there to people and get their feedback too. And I like doing that with a lot of different artists that have put it out there. And I just, they'll share unfinished stuff and I'll be like, hey, this is what I feel from this, or this is what I like about this.
Yeah. I tried to do this experiment with the Reach at one point and it just kind of fizzled because other life got in the way, but we were going to try to make a third album, and I was going to try to sort of crowdsource it and go, all right, here's 3 little snippets. Which one do you guys like? Does anybody have any lyric ideas?
Oh yeah.
And, cool. It would have been an interesting experiment, but I wasn't really in a position to do it at the time. But and then I thought, wait a minute, why am I? I'm just copping out. I'm getting other people to write this because I'm scared to write it myself.
Still an interesting idea, though, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe you could still do it.
Somebody will do it.
Yeah. Let's talk collaborators.
Sure.
You worked with somebody from Better Than Ezra.
Yeah, that's Michael Jerome.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so the drummer.
The deal with him is when I was in college in Dallas in the 90s and playing in the Reach, he was in this band called Pop Poppins, and I fucking loved that band. And went to see them a bunch. There were a bunch of bands getting signed out of Dallas then, and it was sort of like, okay, Tripping Daisy got signed. Pop Poppins is going to be next, and it just kind of didn't happen the way they wanted to. And Michael was also playing in Course of Empire, and he was in Toadies briefly. Yeah, but I just loved Pop Poppins, and I thought he was a fantastic drummer, and he reminded me of Keith Moon a lot. And so, I had met him back in Dallas, and I didn't know if he'd remember me or not. But I just was like, I wonder what that guy's doing. And I looked him up, and it turns out he lives in LA. He's kind of he's not really a session guy, but he's a drummer for hire. And he's a full-time member of Better Than Ezra, but he's also toured with Richard Thompson recently. And I went and saw him here play with Slash's Snake Pit,
Oh, well.
So, I was so happy to find him and find like, okay, this guy's making a great living as a drummer, and he tells me it's hard to convince people of that when he meets people that they're like, no, but what do you really do?
Like, that's your side gig. What do you really do?
Yeah. But that was great getting him involved. And Brian Kelly was in a band called Dayroom that were a big deal in Athens in the 90s. And Dayroom consisted of Ryan, a guy named Mike, who was the front man, and then 2 guys that I played with in high school in a cover band. And so I met Ryan through them, and he's just a monster bass player. I mean, he's just an incredible bass player. And he was happy enough to I basically sent him like my bass lines and said, take the general idea of this and then make it your own. And one of the great things about Ryan was like, on Senseless, he sent me a really simple part. And I was like, I called him back and I'm like, I need you to go further on this. He's like, well, I just didn't want to get in the way of the guitar because it's a busy guitar part. And I'm like, wow, somebody whose taste is too good, who's being too tasteful, it was wonderful. And so I was like, no, you need to kind of go boom, 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 kind of follow that kick drum. So that was really cool. Brian Platt played drums on Train in Vain, and he's an old friend of mine from the ad industry, and he played in a band in Minneapolis called the Cads. And he's like really into like Steely Dan and Steve Gadd and, all these really great technical jazz drummers. And I thought that would sound good to have that sensibility on Train in Vain. So I flew out to Minneapolis and went in the studio with him for a weekend, and it's my first time to Minneapolis, and just fun hanging out and doing that. So that was a bunch of fun. Who else? Riley I talked about, and yeah, I guess that's it. And Marty. Yeah.
And Marty?
Yeah, well, one guy, though, there's a guy named Ben Eder who mixed the album, and he's become a good friend of mine. And we got mixes from a few different people, and then I had my mixes, and Ben's just blew the doors off anything anyone else gave us. And Marty and I were just like, how did he do that? It's like Amplify Me sounds twice as exciting as it did, so that was great. And I just found him on some website, a thing of hire a music professional. And I saw that he had mixed Deer Hunter and Hazel English, who I kind of liked. And so I'm like, well, this guy sounds like a pro. See what he's doing. So, and he's actually now going to play bass for us. I'm trying to get a live version of Blueburst together now with local musicians, because it's impossible with Michael Jerome and Marty to really have a band. So, so Ben's going to play bass with us. Awesome. It's a bummer because this guy Patrick Ferguson from 5/8 reached out to me. You guys heard of 5/8 at all?
I have not.
They're kind of they're a legendary Athens band that would have been huge, but they were just kind of too weird.
What was the time frame?
I guess late 90s, something like that.
5/8. I got to check that out. Okay.
And they're like legendary in Athens. And Patrick came across our record and reached out to me and was just like, I love this record. I want to meet you and hear about how you got together with Marty and all this. And, so I met him, and then finally he's kind of hinting around about it. I'm like, do you want to play drums together? And he's like, I thought you'd never ask. Nice. But anyway, now he's moving to Indiana, so it's kind of a bummer. I was excited to do that. We had a few rehearsals together, and it went really well. But 5/8's a very, very cool band to check out. They're indie with a capital I for sure.
Oh, really?
It's not lush, echoey at all, but it's.
I like a lot of indie stuff.
Sure, I mean, I listen to all kinds of stuff. It's just when I pick up the guitar, I got to turn that delay pedal on, or I feel naked.
Mm-hmm. Can you share a moment when a collaborator shifted a song in a direction that you didn't expect, but you ended up loving?
I'm sure Marty did that multiple times, but I'm trying to think of an example. Let's see, collaborator. I can't really think of what you're saying. Sometime when a collaborator pushed to do something that I didn't like, kind of thing.
That you loved.
Oh, that I loved.
Something they changed everything. They did something. It's like, that.
Well, the key change in Supernova is the first one that springs to mind. For sure. And I hadn't really pictured that wah-wah guitar sound on Vanish that Marty did. Yeah, and it just worked out perfect.
I like that.
I didn't know what he was going to do with that, and he wound up playing it with a volume pedal and a wah-wah pedal at the same time. So it turned out super cool. And I loved how he gave me, 2 tracks, and I was like, we could have both of them going at the same time at the end, even though they're completely different. He's like, yeah. So it just turned into this, explosion by the end of that song of guitar. Yeah, those would be the main ones, I think. Yeah.
Do you mainly prefer writing alone and bringing people in later, or do you thrive on the collaboration?
I like writing alone.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I think I could write with Marty in the room, and we kind of came close to it the last time he was here. Lyrically, it's definitely a solitary thing for me. It's like I just kind of get the song down first, and then come in and turn off all the lights and just start babbling into the mic until I say something that I think's interesting. And I scribble that down. Marty provided some of the sort of melodic basis for some of the songs, like Vanish. He was like, here's how that voice should go. It should go, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. So, he's co-writer on a number of the songs. It's funny, I didn't list him as co-writer on Supernova because it's like, well, adding a key change isn't really writing, but I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look and see, but definitely on Vanish. He wrote that melody, and I felt like the guitar riff he did on Amplify Me became such an integral part of the song that I made him a co-writer on that. So it's always tricky, back to REM, because they're sort of template for so much of what I do. But, they said from day one, everyone's going to get an equal amount of money. Everyone's going to get an equal amount of billing on every song. And because bands break up over money, and we're not going to do that. And and there's huge discrepancies in Marty's X band, as he calls it, on who got what.
Church.
My X band. That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can't say their name anymore.
Not that I think they're fighting over money
the
or
band
anything.
that shall not be named.
Yeah, exactly. I've never heard him mention fighting about money, but Kilby was the sole writer on
the writing credits.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Kilby was the sole writer on Under the
Disputes.
Milky Way, and that made him a ton of money that the other guys didn't get. And that just anytime that happens, I think it can build resentment. And it's the classic example now too is Every Breath You Take. Sting came in with A, F sharp minor, D, E in that little melody, and they couldn't get it to work. And he finally said, "Well, fuck you, Andy Summers. Go figure it out and do something with it." And Andy Summers comes back with that riff. It just makes the song.
Right.
Yeah.
But he wasn't listed as a writer because, you can argue that a song is just a chord and a melody. And then he didn't get paid when Puff Daddy sampled the song. And it's just insane. That
it doesn't have
that
to
iconic riff isn't considered writing, but I'm sure Andy Summers has plenty of money, but
right. But,
he's going to be okay.
Yeah, especially after that reunion tour.
But so does Sting, by the way.
Yeah.
He has plenty of money. So why even,
Yeah. Right. Because I think Sting's a dick.
Why not just split it? It's a band,
Yeah, I think Sting's ego barely fits on the planet. So. and he backs it up. Backs it up with some incredible stuff.
He does. Yeah. Jim, this next little question is yours. Can you tell us about Holly Miller and about her art?
Holly Miller is my wife. She this is a long story, but right, I guess before COVID, she was framing a picture and didn't have shoes or socks on. And the pane of glass from the picture frame fell down and hit her right on the front of the ankle and snapped the tendon. And they misdiagnosed it and she hobbled around on it for a while. And they wound up having to have 3 surgeries on it and couldn't walk and had to have a scooter. And in a way it was, it's like, well, if that's going to happen to you, it might as well happen to you during COVID when you can't go out anyway. But while she was, hobbled, she started doing watercolor painting, and she's always been, really visually artistic. It's funny because I'm not at all. I'm not visually good at all, but it just comes natural to her. So yeah, I just had her do those, and I wanted to have one for each song and maybe make it sort of a patchwork quilt on the back of the cover, but we just never got to it. So she's got a thing about. She just has to paint, and then if it's like homework, then she doesn't want to do it. And I think it became homework to finish all 9 songs. So
right.
But I love. I mean, I've gotten a lot of compliments from people on the one she did. The one for Supernova, I think, was beautiful, and the one for Vanish is great too. So I should bring back. I had T-shirts for sale with those on there for a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'd be interested.
Okay, I'll put them back on the shop.
Yeah.
It might still be
definitely
on.
take a look.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. I love, we go to local art fairs and stuff. I like to buy art and stuff from people, and their designs and stuff like that. I like to support sort of the, independent type of people or people who are just doing it, because they love art. So, and
back to sort of her recovery, she just watching her start to do stuff like that, like painting and sort of just blossom, for lack of a better word, as a human being from being sober has been wonderful to watch. It's when you're an alcoholic or an addict, it's just nothing matters to you but that next drink. And thankfully, Holly never had one of those rock bottoms where you crash your car and stuff that happens to people. But, on the other hand, that maybe kept us and her from taking it seriously for a long time. So, and like I said, I used to drink too much. I'm not an alcoholic, but I just know I'm not. And I barely drink at all now. But, that didn't help. I wasn't great about that. But anyway, point being, her being sober is a wonderful thing, and the painting is part of that. So
I'm very happy for her.
Yeah.
Okay, let's kind of wrap it up. Tell us about the listener reception. Have you heard a lot? Have you heard a lot of feedback?
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of
the album?
feedback.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a lot of really great reviews from blogs for one thing. And, I get a lot of emails from people who kind of related to my story of, starting out at this age, and, most of the fans are kind of guys like the three of us, big music fans who grew up listening to, the bands we talked about. And that's been really gratifying. I had a guy write to me to tell me the story about how he had a stroke out of nowhere and was like miraculously saved. There happened to be like the world's best stroke surgeon happened to be in the coffee shop where he was. And he told me he listened to Blueburst when he was in the hospital. And, that's unbelievable to hear that kind of thing. And it's kept me going with it. I went on the other day. I just did a live stream spontaneously where I played What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding, just kind of as a response to what was happening in Minneapolis. And, and the comments were wonderful. One guy in Minneapolis said, "Thank you for this. We need this. And it's good to know other people are thinking about us." And people are super complimentary. So it's been great. And, we didn't get that with the reach. There were a few people who got it, and were complimentary, but that's probably why we broke up, really. We never got that reception that we thought we were due for. So it's great to get it now. It's great to hear from people. And, and one thing I kind of would like to do if I get this subscription model thing going is create sort of a community, because I think that, the people who listen to Blueburst all have a lot in common and seem to have a common way of looking at things and definitely a common sort of musical history. So I think it would be interesting to get people talking to each other. So.
I always love it when I go onto Bandcamp and I see, because you can see all the supporters, and I love it when there's like all these like icons of people, and Blueburst has that. Like I love seeing that. Yeah. Because I love pointing people to Bandcamp to support.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I should do more sort of pushing Bandcamp because it is great. There's a chance that I'm going to pull it completely off streaming, except for maybe one song, and just go with Bandcamp. It's just it's tough. It's a tough choice because it's like, yes, I want people to be able to hear it, but do I want them to be able to just listen to it basically for free for the rest of their life? No. I had a friend of mine from college. He's like, "Hey man, the album's so great. I'm so psyched about it, man. We have it on Spotify." And I'm like, "Could you buy a copy of it, maybe?" But
I always tell people, like, I wish more people would understand, and like listening to it on Spotify is not the same as listening to it like a physical copy or on Bandcamp even. Yeah. Like it's much better sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
that's my other gripe.
Nearly the same.
Everybody else has lossless audio now. I mean, Apple Music has lossless audio. Tidal was one of the first ones to have it, and Spotify still doesn't have it. Why? Yeah. Why? It's not like they don't have.
You can go listen to a song, and then you go listen to. I'm like, oh my god, that song is so much better. It's like, it's worth it. Yeah. But anyway.
But one thing I've been really surprised about is how many CDs I've sold. Just I'm amazed at how many people are still listening to music on CD.
I think the CDs are making the resurgence along with the cassette tapes.
And I feel guilty about it because when I got the CDs printed, I thought they were just going to be kind of promotional things to send to college radio, who tends to prefer stuff in that format. And so I didn't like spend a lot of money on the jacket or anything. It was kind of a cheap jacket. Now I feel bad that people paid money and they had this cheap, little envelope thing. But I did get some new ones made that actually fold out and have the art. But
that's cool. Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, especially for the people that they either can't afford vinyl or just to make it, like the bands, so they'll do CDs. I think that physical, tangible thing. I think.
Oh, you mean like young bands who can't afford to
like bands that can't afford. I think vinyl's becoming a little bit more affordable again, maybe, but
it's still expensive. It's
still expensive, right?
If you get 10,000 records made, it costs you $2 a record, and if you get 100 records made, it costs you $15 a record. It sucks that way. So smaller runs, and it's always with me. It's always like, all right, I got to get more printed, but how many are I going to sell?
Yeah, how do you know? You don't want to have like a stack of them sitting there.
I have a stack of them, so
I just bought a copy, so you're welcome.
Awesome. I'm hoping like when we get the second one done, that then the first one will sell some more copies along with it. So,
yeah, probably so. I'm sure that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
Cool.
But if not, I have a whole bunch of vinyl placemats. I guess I can blue vinyl placemats.
You can melt them in those little things you see at the antique shops.
Yeah,
little
exactly.
bowls
A little clock or something. Yeah, that's cool.
Don't do it. Somebody's going to want them.
Marty. Sorry, go ahead. Marty said.
No, go ahead.
He was at a record store recently, and a kid next to him was buying all these CDs, and he said, "Why do you buy CDs?" He just said they're cheaper than vinyl. So it's like, I guess it's just that simple. It's like I want to hold something in my hand and own it. But vinyl's $30-$40 for it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I haven't I'm at a stage where I can buy something if I want it, right? So yeah, but I could definitely see being at a place where I'll get the CD because I can't afford the vinyl. So
yeah.
Anymore.
You can go down a financial rabbit hole with vinyl very quickly.
Oh my gosh!
Like, of course, I need the My Bloody Valentine re-release for $45. Yeah. I must have it.
The test pressings, right?
I remember years ago. This is probably early 2000s. A buddy of mine at work walked in and I'm like, what's going on? He's like, yeah, I just went to the Virgin Megastore. He's like, it's impossible to go in the Virgin Megastore and not buy ELO's greatest hits.
So every time he goes in,
just sitting there and you're like, no, yeah, it's just like it's just there, and how you can't not buy it. It's ELO's greatest hit.
Yeah, it's like being at a candy store, isn't it? For sure. Yeah. So you've said this is the best music you've ever made. Is that a quote?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I think it is.
I pulled it from somewhere. What makes this chapter feel more authentic than your earlier?
Well, more time to do studio. I mean, when we did the Reach stuff, it was back in the day of like you do a demo and then you go into the studio and you record it. And with now, it's a very iterative process where you you do the demo and then you have
limited amount of time, right?
And then you change it out. Well, you change it out, and so you're just kind of building the song gradually. There's no real delineation between a demo and the final thing. It's like building a lasagna or something, for lack of a better metaphor. So yeah, we had limited studio time, and I went back and remixed some of the Reach stuff where I felt like we ran out of time on it and get very good mixes. I didn't know what I was doing as far as guitar sounds at all back then. So I had this one amp that did kind of a clean sound really well, and so that was kind of the sound of that first record. But lyrically, I dug in a lot more on Blueburst because I'm older, and I was kind of embarrassed with some of the lyrics I was really proud of on the Reach, and some of them were just throwaway. And I'm like, why did I put that on record? So
it's more reflective now, right?
Yeah,
you've had a life.
Yeah, in 25 or whatever of just listening to music intently, is an education. I mean, the same way. Quentin Tarantino said his film school was just watching a gajillion movies. It's kind of been in training over the time since the Reach. So I saw Dave not long ago. He was here in town, and we went and had a beer, which was cool. Yeah. So the bass player.
You think you'll ever do anything else? I think you mentioned it earlier.
It's possible. I mean, we had a blast doing the reunion show. It's a funny story. A buddy of mine from college is a regular at this bar in Denver called the Bull and Bush, because he grew up with the owners, a couple of brothers that own it. And so when I was in college, he brought them the Reach CDs, and they loved it, and they play it in there all the time. And so we became like these celebrities within this one bar in Denver. So when we talked about doing the reunion, I told the guy, they're like, do you want to do it in Dallas? I'm like, no, I don't want to fucking do it in Dallas. Let's do it in Denver at this one bar where people know us, And so we did it, and it was great. It was a great night, a lot of fun. And I love those two guys. We shouldn't have broken up, to be honest, but it was just hard. So
yeah. What's next for Blueburst?
Well,
more singles, follow-up album?
Follow-up album for sure is underway. I'll probably release some singles along the way to that. But yeah, that's finally kind of started in earnest. You can see, if I can turn this around farther, you can see my whiteboard there. It's like 30 songs listed on it. They're half-written songs, or starters. I have some interesting names for them where I'm just like, I don't know what to name this for now. So for now, I'm going to call it Rip Dickerson.
Placeholders.
Yeah,
or maybe not. I don't know.
It's called Gatorade because I guess I had a ball
Gatorade.
of yeah, but yeah, having Marty here, we got some work done on a couple of songs that I think are going to be really good. You know, honestly, my dad going through cancer and eventually passing, you know, kind of just, I didn't really want to do much musically during or after that. He passed, you know, you kind of go into this state of numbness, which is not a good place to be writing music from. And I definitely didn't want to write a bunch of music about how my dad died. So, you know, thankfully,
that makes sense.
He died about as well as you can do it with, you know, he was in his own home and he was surrounded by family and not in any pain. And so that was I'm grateful for that. But yeah, I think we'd had a second album a lot sooner without that. I'm fully on it now, and it's not going to take nearly as long to make the second one as it did the first one. So I'm not kind of learning as I go along, you know. So
how long is it? Was it 2023?
The end of 2023, yeah.
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay.
I started releasing singles, I guess, the beginning of 2023.
So it's really not that long.
Yeah, you know, I'm hoping to get it. If I get it by September, you know, that'll be 3 years, which is, you know, it should have been 2 without my dad. But you know, the next one I think will be even quicker. So
exciting.
But, you know, the tricky bit now is, like, to be honest with you, I listened to Significance and I'm like, I don't know how I did that. You know? That's really good. I don't know how.
Well, that's great to be able to look back at that and feel that way, right?
Yeah, I think it was, you know, 20 years of thoughts kind of came together and gelled. So, but we'll see. I mean, I was excited with the thing Marty and I were working on, and I'm like, okay, this sounds like it could be from Blueburst. This is good. So
cool.
So I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's one thing I've learned over the course of making it. That if I just keep working on it, eventually it will get good. But if you
it has to be good. What was Marty's phrase? It has to be right.
But it's like, if you're working on it and it's not working right, and then you just quit, then it's never going to get good.
And it's never going to be. Yeah.
You know, Executioner's song, man, I struggled with that one for a long time. And,
I love that song.
It's maybe my favorite one on the record. It's I finally got the tempo locked in perfectly. I had it too slow, and then it was too fast, and it just finally just sang. You know, and got that bridge written. Yeah, you know, that one was a struggle. It was a struggle for me vocally, but then you know, what I wound up singing on it was so simple and a simple melody, but it worked great. So
I love that melody. It reminds me of R.A.M. I don't know why, but it has that feel to it. Love that song.
It's I think the delivery and kind of the realm of that vocal at the beginning is
a little harder edged, I think, than R.E.M. But
yeah. You know, and anytime you do an arpeggio on a Rickenbacker, it's going to sound like them to some degree. I mean, I'm not going to deny the influence at all. I love R.E.M. I love Athens music.
Why would you? Yeah.
I mean, it was, you know, big musical moment for me was when I was 14, my sister took me to the Life's Rich pageant tour at the Fox Theater, and it was the final show of the tour. They did five encores, and it just blew my brain apart. Because I was listening to Twisted Sister and Rat at that point. You know?
When did that come out? Like 1986 or 85 or something
87,
like that?
I think.
It was in there somewhere, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember I was a freshman in high school, and I went to school next day with my T-shirt on. And I see this senior coming up to me, and I'm like, oh, no, he's going to
beat the shit
out of me or something.
Get your ass
He just comes up and he goes, R.E.M. rocked last night, didn't he? And I'm like,
nice.
You know, it's like this nice moment for me.
You're like, yes, it did. Yeah. Yes, they did.
That's when they really were a rock band. It's just, tons of energy coming off that stage, and realizing that, you know, you don't have to have Marshall stacks, you know, distorted to have incredible energy.
Yeah.
And I love that album too. It was a great album.
The great songwriters, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there were gods to us growing up here in Atlanta. You know.
I'm sure.
We found out they were going to sign the wall at some youth club to try and get teenagers to go to the youth club instead of drinking in parking lots. And we found out they were coming, so we went and hid. Me and my bandmates at the time went and hid above this thing so we could watch them walk in.
That's cool. I didn't know you grew up there.
What's that?
I didn't know you grew up there.
Yeah, I grew up in a suburb of Atlanta. Yeah, in Marietta. You guys familiar with Guadalcanal Diary?
Oh yeah,
yeah. Murray Attaway's from Marietta too, and I've gotten to be I don't know if we're friends. We're friendly.
Friendly.
So I know he should know well enough to go. He's my friend, but
you're civil. You're civil. You nod.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, we went for tacos one time and talked about music. And he just put out a new solo album, which is really great. And I'm a huge fan of Guadalcanal Diary. I think Blueburst sounds a lot like Guadalcanal Diary at times. That song Litany is probably
definitely pieces.
I told Murray
Litany
is my favorite.
Jangly.
Song. Yeah. Litany's it's not my favorite song because I think it's the best song ever written, but just for sentimental reasons, it's my favorite song. Because I remember hearing it on the local music show in Atlanta, and I had heard of them, but I hadn't heard their music. I just remember going, "That's what I want my guitar to sound like. That's the perfect blend." And they kind of had a 2-guitar thing going, which I've always loved. The church, the melding of the 2 guitars, television, incredible stuff. Again, I wish we'd gotten a second guitar player in the Reach. I think it would have helped.
It changes the whole sound when you have that additional guitar player.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And especially if I won't go doing into different things,
I won't go into too much of like stuff about the church because it's not really my place. But one thing that was interesting to me is to find out like that Marty and Peter didn't really talk about their parts together. They just kind of did them, and that was incredible to me to hear that, knowing that they're known as a band for the delicate interweaving of the 2, parts.
Right.
So,
Yeah, 3 parts.
They didn't talk about it.
Yeah, but sometimes things just work. So.
Exactly.
I always like Johnny Rotten said once. He said, "Sometimes things happen because they just should." The Sex Pistols should have happened, and they did.
And they did. Jim, did you have something to say? I thought I might have interrupted you. Sorry. Earlier.
Do you guys plan on touring at all? Do you plan on playing any shows?
There's no plan, but there's a plan to try to play shows. Like I said, I've been rehearsing with Ben, the guy who mixed the record, on bass, and an old friend of mine from my advertising days, who's a really great guitar player, wanted to play. And I was like, asked around, I'm like, can he actually play? And I asked some people who had played with him, and they're like, yes, he can.
Oh, cool.
And he's turned out to be great. So now we're just short a drummer because Patrick had to bail. But I desperately want to get up and play these songs live. I mean, I go out and play acoustic at Eddie's Attic here in town, which is a great venue for acoustic stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
That's great, but the songs weren't really built for that. I feel a little bit like a bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
Going, jing, 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 and the next guy is like, finger picking and singing real soft. And, so
like a tiny desk concert.
Yeah, exactly. But
cool. Hopefully
they have an open mic at Eddie's every Monday, and it's legendary. I mean, they've had anytime there'll be some people who stink, but most of the people, there'll be some incredible people at it. So that's a really great thing that I'm glad is still here. I was away from Atlanta for almost 20 years and then moved back. And it was kind of like coming home, but also it's so different. So much has changed, in those 20 years, it's exploded with growth. But it's wonderful when you see, Eddie's Attic is still there. Thank God. And that's where Marty and I did a show together last year. Yeah,
cool.
That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
That was a life highlight. And it's like, I'm on stage playing Under the Milky Way with Marty. Just like, what happened here? This can't be right,
Just like the piece of mail, right?
Yeah.
Only better.
Yeah, it was super fun. We worked up a bunch of his solo stuff that I kind of pitched in on, and then I played, the Blueburst stuff, and it was just a really, really gratifying night. And a lot of people came out, and came up to me and wanted to tell me they loved the record, and so that's wonderful.
That's awesome. Did you guys film it?
No, we didn't. We didn't. We did record the audio of it, and I want to go back through it and see if maybe there's something we can release. There's a lot of flubs on my part in there. To be honest, it was only like a month after my dad passed, and I look back on it now, I'm like, I was exhausted, and I kind of just like I'm going to pull it together and get this show done because this is going to be an amazing thing, but then I just sort of collapsed after it. That's a tough thing. I don't know if you guys have ever lost a parent, but it's no fun. No fun. Unless they leave you like a shit ton of money.
Yeah. That's a silver lining, but
I saw a spec trailer for a film the other day, and the idea is that the United States passes a 100% inheritance tax, but it doesn't take effect for a month. So all these like billionaire kids have a month to try to knock their parents off.
Oh my gosh.
And there's something similar coming out now, Glenn Powell, where he has to kill all these relatives to get his inheritance. I forget. It's murder. Yeah, funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Dark comedy. That's what we call it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a funny side note about me is I co-wrote a script that we're currently trying to pitch for Weekend at Bernie's 3.
Oh,
a buddy of mine from advertising and I did it, and it's the idea is that it's set in the real world in 2026, and it's about Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman, playing themselves as actors, and the idea is their careers have gone downhill. They missed the spotlight, so they're like, we can get it all back. We just got to do Weekend at Bernie's 3, but they have to track down the guy who played Bernie, and so when they find him, he's kind of gone half crazy and says he doesn't want to do it, and so they kill him. And then
oh my goodness!
Life imitates art, sort of by accident. They kill him. But
then they'll do it.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe that'll sell, and I'll fund
dig it.
The next Blueburst record.
There you go.
That was another COVID project of mine. Is trying to get into screenwriting, which is sort of like buying a lottery ticket, basically. But especially when you don't live in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But,
what would you like for listeners to take from Blueburst music?
I mean,
do you care, Craig?
No, I care. I mean, the first word that springs to mind is hope, I guess. I don't really know why, but I think my story can provide some hope. Hey, life's not over. You can still do anything you want to do. Just because you're 50, it doesn't matter. And I don't know, just to think more about. I think people don't think much about the idea of what makes a significant life, or what we're doing, or why we're here, why we're doing it. And I think some deep thought into that would be good for people. So I hope maybe I've spurred some of that thinking.
Yeah, cool.
And I just hope they rock out to it. So turn it up.
There you go. Have fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. A buddy of mine and I were talking about it. And a guy I knew since elementary school, and that was my one gripe and his one gripe with the record is like, it's not really a fun record, is it? No, it's not the B-52s, but and bands like The Cure and REM really were able to just effortlessly switch between fun and serious, so amazingly. But maybe I can't picture doing a goofy song. At least not with Blueburst. But
there's a little bit of lightness here and there, maybe, but it's more
it's not
so
all
like
dark, but it's serious. It's not
right.
It's not flippant. So
you need a Love Cats.
Yeah,
Love Cats.
Exactly. Not a shiny happy people, but
no. Let's focus on Love Cats.
There you go.
Yeah. There's another article now out about Michael Stipe. There was an article about a year ago in the New York Times about his solo album, and then you just didn't hear anything about it for like a year and a half. And now there's a new article out, and he's like, I'm just having trouble finishing it because I think it's not going to be as good as REM, and I'm trying to make sure it's as good as REM, and it's like, but I know it's not going to be, and just put it out, man. We just want to
art for art's sake, man.
Yeah.
Do your art.
Yeah.
Easy for me to say.
The other thing is in 2026. In 2026, even if it was better than every REM album, no one would care about it nearly as much. It's just not that the market's not set up for that. Yeah. Kids aren't going to listen to it,
Right.
Saturday Night Live is not going to call him to come play,
He's no Taylor Swift, okay?
No.
Which is a good question.
They had on this week was they had Harry Styles on, and he's obviously a charming enough dude in the cast, but I was kind of impressed with his musical performance. It's like it was all real musicians, they were tight, and like that's just a nice breath of fresh air on SNL anymore. That it's not somebody with like 10 dancers behind them in a track.
I saw that they're going to have Jack Black and Jack White
together.
Seriously, they're on an episode. Yeah, I thought that was funny. That's cool.
There's an old
the Jacks.
Conan. I'm a huge Conan fan, and there was an old Conan episode where he did a guitar battle against Jack Black, and they're kind of going back and forth, and then Conan just starts shredding, just going crazy, and then they pull back the curtain and slashes behind the curtain.
I think I may have seen that actually. I know what you're talking about.
That's pretty great.
Well, thanks a lot for spending some time with us.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. I really enjoyed it.
For talking a lot. I appreciate that.
You bet. Yeah, and I'll put in a good word with Marty.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we said hi.
I'm sure he'd be happy to do it. He likes talking about.
We'll talk to him at some point for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, he just likes talking about music.
He's last, but certainly not least on our what we call the core original church members. So
yeah.
What'd you think of the Plug episode?
It was interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting to hear his perspective.
Interesting guy.
I think I certainly was surprised to hear him say like that he was really at the top of his game as a musician when Gold Afternoon Fix was recorded. I'm like, that doesn't seem to be the consensus.
Who was it that it was either Steve or Marty? It was probably Steve that posted on something like because they were talking about the album again. The Gold Afternoon Fix. And he's like, he wanted to be the band's caterer.
Yeah. I remember reading
and that's true, right? He was pretty much.
I read Kilby's memoir about, and I remember him talking about.
And I think Peter kind of said something like that too, but he was really focused on that. At the time.
But it's funny as much as they can't stand that record. Like I have this great memory of being in high school and getting the Metropolis CD single that came out. And riding around in my sister's convertible, and listening to that over and over, and
same.
Great
song.
Yeah, Jim and I did an episode talking about that album, and so it was
the one that drives Marty nuts is Grind because it's such a great song live. It's just such.
I love the song.
I love Grind.
Yeah. But
I know there's been a lot of feedback about it.
Yeah. Such a great song though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's hard being a church fan sometimes because other people don't. It's hard. You either kind of get it or you don't. A lot of people are like, I don't understand why you like this band. I'm like, no, this is great.
Because have you listened?
So many great songs.
Yes, and I don't understand. Yeah,
they don't just have one great song; they got many.
Yeah.
They're still making.
And
great
they have
songs.
all the pieces, together, all the players together. Yeah. They're doing the good stuff now.
Yeah.
So
I haven't heard the newest one, but I did.
Just the one song.
I feel disloyal saying this, but I did like.
I don't think
some of the post Marty stuff. There's some good songs. In there.
It's not totally out yet. I don't think.
But that one song is Sacred something.
Yeah, not the whole album's not out.
I'm thinking about the last one.
Coda? Is that what it's called? I can't remember.
Coda, that's not out yet.
But
But he's just got that voice, man. Kilby's voice.
His voice is so mesmerizing. So.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time.
Cool.
Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Your evening. It's late for you guys, right?
It's
10 something?
Yeah, 10:15.
It's not too late. It's late for us, 50 whatever year olds.
I'm not working at the moment. I'm freelance and I don't have anything going on.
You can you stay up all night then.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Is that what you do?
If left to my own devices, I would, but it winds up keeping my wife awake and she has to get up early and so she gets pissed off.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Well, we'll reach out. We'll reach out.
Okay. Yeah, let me know when this
it'll be a little
up.
while, but I'll reach out for sure and let you know.
Yeah, and I've got your email, so I can I'll do an intro for you with Marty. And
awesome.
If you would like me to, or if you want to
that'd
wait.
be great.
That'd be amazing.
Awesome. Oh, that'd be wonderful. Yeah. And I look forward to the album too.
I referred him to a couple other podcasts about a year ago, and he did them. So he'll probably be happy to do it.
Cool. That'd be great.
Cool. We'll be very nice to him. We're very kind.
That's right. Cool. It's not a hard-hitting show.
There's no shock, church talk or anything.
No gotchas.
Yeah.
We just want his perspective on different things.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys obviously dove deep into the music and asked me thoughtful questions about it, which is wonderful.
Yeah, that's what I try to do.
Makes it fun for me. So cool.
I look forward to the album too. My album's on the way.
All right. Awesome.
I'm excited.
Did you get the deluxe version?
I got the deluxe, I think. Yeah.
Good. The blue
it's
vinyl.
blue. It's blue, right? It's not black. It's blue, and
it has a lyric sheet in it. So
I think it has a lyric sheet. And
if I had more money,
I think it said. Did you sign it?
I did.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Cool.
So, all right.
Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good
Talk
seeing
to you later.
And that is going to wrap it up for our conversation with Craig Miller of Blueburst. I hope you enjoyed our chat, and I hope that you will seek out the music of Blueburst on Bandcamp. I believe that is the only presence that Blueburst has right now. Actually on YouTube. You definitely can follow them on YouTube as well. But the band website and Bandcamp are your best options to go and actually purchase their music. And that's going to go more directly to the artist. You will not be able to find them on Spotify as far as I can remember, but definitely go to Bandcamp and get your free listens and then take the opportunity to purchase the music and listen away. I had a little bit of a lengthy intro where you got to listen to me bitch for a little while about houses and having my whiskey packed away in boxes. Oh my, such big problems I have. Well, the house is pretty significant, actually. If any of you have ever had experience trying to get a house when the inventory is low, so when something reasonable comes on the market and everyone who's been looking all of a sudden is putting in multiple offers, it kind of gets pretty crazy, and so it's just no fun to go through. So yeah, it is pretty significant. And as they say, moving is one of the most impactful things that can happen in your life. It's right up there with divorce, death, significant health events. And and I have moved far too many times in the past 8 years. So it's taking a toll, and being in limbo is very difficult. I'm a person who takes comfort in routine and knowing exactly where I'm at in life. And Chrissy and I are just in limbo right now, in between homes and trying to figure it out. But anyway, appreciate all the thoughts and or prayers in that regard, and well wishes, good vibes. I'll take them all. I'll take them all. Every single one of them I will take. But anyway, yeah. Like I said, I had a long intro where I vented, and so I'm going to have a short outro, I hope. This is probably just as long as every other outro that I've done, but you'll deal with it. You'll deal with it, especially if you are one of those who have been here before and come back for more. I always want to try to take an opportunity to say thank you. Thank you so much, because I'm not easy to deal with. I'm not easy to listen to. Thank God we have people on here that we can interview, and there's opportunity for me to close my mouth and you just listen to music and other people. That's the way I like it. You're listening to music and other people. But anyway, peace and love to you all. I really do love you all. I wish you all peace. I'm here for you all. Send me a message if you need anything. I'll try to come through with encouragement, if nothing else. But I really am here for community and to share peace, love, and support. So hopefully you get something out of our conversations, and hopefully you feel that you're part of my community. If you're here listening this at all, you're part of my community. So thank you so much. Until next time, take care.
I saw fire just about everything, but I can't help from asking just one last thing. I hope that this all starts over.